What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm excited to have you here today because I'm doing a review of a book called Redshift. This will be out on May the 19th from Scout Comics, and so I'm excited to talk about this first issue because I really enjoyed this story, and the main character I found extremely relatable. But before I ramble too long, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, connect, and follow. Do whatever you do on the platform you're on. Just look for my furry face inside of an orange circle and click all the buttons next to it. So Redshift was sent to me by the creators to give it like a preview, review, and kind of talk to people about what Redshift is. So the book itself is written by H.S. Tack, and the art is done by Brent McKee. I really enjoyed this book because the main character is somebody that I found very relatable. The central conflict of this book really revolves around him and some of the situations he's been in, some of the things that he's had to do, and how he struggles with the world they live in. And I think that's the most important part to start with. Redshift takes place in a future where the Earth itself seems unlivable, and so they have kind of colonized Mars. The problem that they're running into at this point is they're running out of resources. The main character works in like an ice vein mine, so what they're doing is digging out the ground looking for veins of ice, because that would give them the water they need to continue to survive. They can't really, it doesn't seem like they can go out into the environment on its own. They always have to wear a helmet, some kind of oxygen providing suit, and so that makes it really interesting because everything's not just willy-nilly. And what we find out is they're kind of in this Hunger Games kind of scenario where they draw a name, and that name is they call him a Voyager. And basically what's going on is like the team is, the science team, I guess, they are looking for another planet in the Goldilocks zone, and they're building like these state-of-the-art spaceships that can fly like millions and billions of light years away from Mars, but they're still struggling to get to the planets and find anything. So they've been doing this for years. And our main character here, his mom was sent as a Voyager out to check on one of these planets and see if it would be a place to colonize for humanity to continue to survive. Unfortunately, their mom, like all the other Voyagers before them, disappear, lose communication, all kinds of bad things happen, obviously. And so the main character is struggling because his mom left as a Voyager, and now he's being called forward as a Voyager. He has a younger brother and his dad at home that are also in their own ways struggling with the loss of their wife, mother. And so there's a lot of issues between the family. The other thing you find out about this main character is that he trained basically his whole life to be entered into the pool of Voyagers to be drawn from. But about a year before this story actually takes place, he quit. He gave up on the program. And the way they talk about it, it kind of reminds me of sort of a West Point kind of situation where being a Voyager and being in this training academy is very prestigious. And he's constantly hit top marks. But something happened a year ago that made him quit from the academy. And so then we kind of get a flashback that takes us back to the event that really made him leave. And this is a big chunk of the internal conflict he has going on, because he had to make decisions to save a team, and he basically had to sacrifice one person so that he could save four. And so I think it's really interesting that he did the right thing, but the right thing wasn't necessarily a simple decision. And so he has all this conflict about that event, and he has a lot of conflict about the loss of his mother, and there's some conflict within him about how he feels about the way that, like, I guess, like, the government is sending people out into the stars, knowing that they're more than likely not going to return. And you also get the the government, you get kind of their perspective on things too. Like, they understand that a lot of these missions are pretty much dead ends, but they know they can't stop searching, because if they do, they'll never find a way to save humanity, because they are rapidly running out of resources on Mars. And so I found this book really enjoyable. I love the main character here. I found him very relatable because he has this constant struggle about like what he should do versus what he can do and what he's doing for honor, and he's being pulled in all these different directions at once. And he also has like great compartmentalization skills. So like whenever they go on this mission as a training mission and things go wrong, he's very capable of being a leader, and he steps into the role very well because he compartmentalizes what's going on and just focuses on what it takes to be the most effective in the moment. And so he does do things like sacrificing one to save many, but that weighs very heavily on his heart once he gets out of the situation and he has to deal with it, once everybody's safe. And so I find that very relatable. That's something about my personality that I personally appreciate. And I think this is a really cool way to set up this character. He also has a lot of PTSD going on over the loss of his mother, and so you kind of see that start to bleed into his life as well. There's problems at home with his father because his father doesn't want to lose somebody else in the family. His father feels like it's very unfair that they've already come to his family and requested one of them be a Voyager, and now they're showing up knocking at his door looking for another Voyager from his own family. So they don't quite define what they mean when they say, like they say that they pick them, like they don't come to our outpost often. And so the impression I get there is that there's a lot of small outposts all over Mars, and there's kind of a centralized government that visits these outposts, sort of like the, I forget what they called them, but in the Hunger Games, they had different, I guess like zones. And so this kind of has that feel to it as well, but there's no like battle competition necessarily. It's just like the lottery idea and the fact that there's like outposts everywhere. And so they get a visit from the government. It's a big deal to them because their outpost is very small and doesn't get often visited. And so there's a lot of cool things going on with the world building. There's a lot going on out there. There's one panel. Our main character, he runs into an oxygen problem, and he starts to struggle. And the artwork is absolutely beautiful. It looks great. I love the way they express him without the oxygen. His eyes are very like red and bloodshot. It looks beautiful. My one complaint on that moment though, I wish this book was one page longer so they could have used that moment, him struggling for oxygen and just like the way they illustrate it. I wish that had been a full page splash and that the panels that come right behind that had been on their own page as well. And I think it would have given a little more gravity and to that situation, and it would have made it feel more visceral. But overall, I love the book. I think the dialogue is great. They're playing on some classic literature. I'm pretty sure it's a Robert Frost poem that the character is quoting occasionally throughout the book that kind of threads everything together. And so it's a really cool read. I really enjoyed Redshift. I can't wait to see what the rest of this series is because they leave us on almost a perfect cliffhanger. I love the way the book just kind of like stops and what it all means going forward and where we're going to see the main character go from there. So this was Redshift #1. This will be out from Scout Comics on May the 19th of 2021, and I highly suggest everybody grab it. It was an honor and a privilege for me to be able to read it this early and check out the book and get to offer this review to everybody because this is a book that I definitely think you shouldn't sleep on. If you like sci-fi, if you like space exploration, if you like internal conflict and questions bigger than ourselves, I think this is absolutely a book for everybody to check out. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep flipping pages.